million. I'll talk about it right after the bumper. Good people. Jeff Lightsey Jr. here with the Black Boss Channel and Victory Formation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload every single day. Now, Rich Paul. We all know Rich Paul as being the super agent in the NBA, of being one of LeBron James's best friends and his agent. He also represents guys like Ben Simmons, Trae Young, LeBron, as I mentioned, and John Wall. Got these guys all mega contracts. But one of his former clients, Nerlens Noel, is suing Rich Paul because he said he cost him $58 million in earnings because of bad negotiating. Now, here is what let's read the article out of Yahoo Sports. You guys know I love Yahoo, and let's read some of the language in the lawsuit. And so it says, Knicks center Nerlens Noel sues Rich Paul, claiming hiring mega agent cost him $58 million. Now, let's get into it. Rich Paul, the NBA mega agent who represents LeBron James, Anthony Davis. How did I forget Anthony Davis? Anthony Davis, Trae Young, and others is being sued by his former client, according to a court filing obtained by Sports Agent Blog. The former client in question is New York Knicks big man Nerlens Noel, who hired Paul as his agent in 2017 and then fired him in 2020. In the years in between, Noel claims Paul's failed promises and professional negligence cost him up to $58 million in lost contract money. In the lawsuit, Noel claims Paul breached his fiduciary duty, both advising him to turn down a long-term extension and basically ignoring attempts by teams to contact him about his client. So why is Nerlens Noel suing Rich Paul? So, according to the lawsuit, Noel and Paul's relationship allegedly began when they met at the birthday party of Ben Simmons, a Paul client, in July of 2017. At the time, Noel was playing for the Dallas Mavericks, averaged 10, 7 rebounds, blah, blah, blah. Noel, who had been represented by Happy Walters since he was drafted in 2013, claims he received an extension from the Mavericks amounting to 4 years, $70 million. Now, here's why he's suing them. Listen to this. He got a contract extension offer from the Mavericks for 4 years, $70 million. Paul allegedly pitched Noel as a client by saying that the player was worth $100 million. He was a $100 million man and could receive a max offer if he hired Rich Paul. So why is this significant? So before we get into more of the details, at the time, you got to think Rich Paul had already secured max deals for LeBron. Had got John Wall overpaid, had max contracts for Anthony Davis, and on the horizon were guys like Trae Young and so on and so forth. So he had a good track record up until this point. Now he had superstar clients. It's not like he had soup sandwiches for clients, and not to say Nerlens Noel's a soup sandwich, but he wasn't John Wall. He isn't LeBron James. He isn't Anthony Davis. But hey, he feels that Rich Paul, if he promised him he could get him $100 million deal, because it's not like some dudes who aren't worth $100 million weren't getting $100 million deals. Otto Porter got a big, nice, fat contract. Duncan Robinson just got $90 million. So, the thing is, it was realistic. And Nerlens believed Rich that he could get him a $100 million deal. So, Noel says he hired Paul and subsequently rejected the Mavericks offer, instead signing a $4.1 million qualifying offer to become a free agent the following summer. So, just so I can break this down, he turned down the 4-year, $70 million contract because he was what is called a restricted free agent. So, in NBA terms, not to bore you, but restricted free agency has its limitations. The max number that you can sign for is only a certain amount. You're only able to be offered by the team that you play for. Other teams can try to offer, but the team that you play for can match it. So there's some restrictions to restricted free agency. So to get a chance to get that $100 million that Rich Paul was talking about, Noel signed a qualifying offer that would make him a complete free agent, not a restricted free agent, but a complete free agent. So he only signed for $4 million that season. Instead of the $70 million, the 4-year $70 million, he did a 1-year $4 million deal. Now, let's keep going. So, that decision would prove costly as Noel struggled in 2017-18 season, playing only 30 games due to a thumb injury and averaging career lows in points, rebounds, blocks, and minutes. See, this is where we get into trouble. This is where we get into trouble because Nerlens Noel, he's not a guy known for scoring. He's known for getting block shots and rebounding. Well, if he has career lows in all three categories, that $70 million offer is going to go down the toilet. Like, let's just be honest. At that point, Noel claims Paul began to lose interest in him as a client. He hit unrestricted free agency in 2018 and claims neither Paul nor anyone at his agency Clutch Sports presented any offers or strategies. Instead of signing a max contract, listen to this, guys. Remember, he turned down 4 years, $70 million. So he did 4.1 for 1 year to become an unrestricted free agent. And instead of getting that $70 million, this is what he got. Noel ended up signing, listen to this, for a league minimum deal with the Oklahoma City Thunder, 2 years for $3.75 million. Oh my God. 2 years, $3.75 million. Even that contract allegedly didn't come from Paul. As Noel says, he was personally recruited by then Thunder stars Russell Westbrook and Paul George. After a solid season as a bench player for the Thunder, Noel opted out of his contract in 2019 and once again hit free agency, where he says he received no offers. Another league minimum contract with the Thunder would follow. But Noel says he later learned from Brett Brown, his former coach with the Philadelphia 76ers, that the Sixers attempted to contact Paul about signing Noel, only to not have any of their calls taken or returned. Noel claims he learned of other teams encountering the same reception. Noel says he considered dropping Paul as his agent in 2020, but was convinced to stay with Clutch by Clutch agent Lucas Newton, who Noel claims told him that the Thunder were planning to offer a 3-year deal worth $7 to $10 million a year. So 3 years, potentially $21 or $30 million. No such offer came. And Noel says he again heard from other teams, this time the Houston Rockets and the Los Angeles Clippers, not having any of their phone calls returned. Noel would eventually sign with the New York Knicks, 1 year, $5 million deal, but only after the Knicks president Leon Rose contacted his friend and advisor to set up a meeting. Noel's most productive season in years followed, 5.6 rebounds, 2 steals. So he never had a season like the one where he averaged about 10 points and so on, and 7 rebounds and so on and so forth. And he was never able to recoup that money. So, Nerlens Noel is filing this lawsuit saying Rich Paul cost him $58 million. Woo! I am interested. Leave your thoughts in the chat. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Who got played worse? Did Noel get played by Rich Paul, or did Noel play himself, right? Because here's the thing. You have to be a great talent to receive multiple big-time contracts in the NBA, right? I get Noel. I get it. You want to bet on yourself. You want to say, hey, I'm going to turn down $70 million because I believe I can make $100 million. I understand that completely. But what I don't agree with is you can't sue Rich you can't sue Rich because you got hurt. You had your best season where you averaged 10 points, almost 8 rebounds, 2 or 3 blocks or whatever. And the Mavericks offered you probably too much, $70 million. And Rich did convince you. He told you were a $100 million man. He lied, but agents lie. Agents lie all the time. Rich Paul is not the first nor the last agent that will ever lie to a client. Now, what I will say, now this is all alleged, right? This is all alleged. What I will say, if Rich Paul was supposed to be your agent and he wasn't taking phone calls and he was ignoring teams and he wasn't getting back with you, you got a case with that. If you can prove that, you got a case and you're going to make some money. You're going to get Rich Paul on that because that is just pure neglect of your job. That is honestly doing the exact opposite of your job. What Noel and what that article didn't get into, but some other articles that I read, that Noel claims that Rich Paul, once that big contract was off the table, Rich Paul kind of had wiped his hands with Noel. He didn't care about that. Because what agents do is they make commission on what the contracts that the players get, right? And so Noel went from, Rich Paul thought he could get commission 4% on a $100 million contract. 4% on a $100 million contract is pretty nice. But 4% on a $3 million contract or $4 million contract or a $5 million contract, it ain't as nice. It ain't as nice. It might be nice to a guy that's starting off, a guy that's coming up, a guy that, might need it. But Rich Paul got LeBron James. Rich Paul got Trae Young, Anthony Davis, Ben Simmons, John Wall. These guys are on big time deals. Trae Young just signed for $200 million this offseason. 4% on that is pretty nice. LeBron James did another $100 million extension a year or two ago. That's pretty nice. Anthony Davis just signed for $200 million or $190 or whatever last year. That's pretty nice. John Wall still getting paid $44 million a year. That's pretty nice. So what Nerlens claimed to make also in that lawsuit that we didn't read in that article is that, like I said, once Rich Paul, it's what he claimed, allegedly. We're not going to bombard Rich Paul and say all of this is true, but this is what Noel is claiming in his lawsuit. He's claiming that he wiped his hands clean with him and didn't want nothing to do with him. Now that is pure neglect to have a client on your roster, on your agency roster, and to not take phone calls, to not field calls, to not see if teams are interested, even if it's just $5 million. It ain't the $50 million that the other guys, or $100 million or $200 million that the other guys are getting. That Trae and John and LeBron and AD. It's not them, Ben. But he's still your client. And if Nerlens is able to prove that, he should get paid. He's not gonna make that $60 million. Nah, he ain't gonna get that back. That's over. That is over. But Rich Paul probably owe him something. He owes him something. If that is the case, if Nerlens can make the case and prove that Rich Paul just blatantly didn't answer phone calls or return calls or tell his own client that, that teams want you, then yeah, you're going to have to come up off some dollars off that one. You're going to have to come up off something for Nerlens. You're going to have to break him off something because you ain't missing no meals and you was causing him to miss a few more meals he probably could have had. Now, these are millionaires. I get it. It's a lot of money we're talking about, but that's a whole lot of money to miss out on. $60 million. That's a whole lot of money that Nerlens is not going to be able to make back. Leave your thoughts in the chat. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Who got played worse? Nerlens? Do you believe Rich Paul did this? Now, first, let's start off by saying that. Do you believe Nerlens and that Rich Paul ignored him? Kind of got a point. He makes a good case. When you got other guys signing $200 million contracts and Nerlens now is only getting $5, $6, $7 million, for 2 years. Yeah, Nerlens, it's not unbelievable. It's not unbelievable is all I'm going to say. Leave your thoughts in the chat. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Once again, I'm Jeff Lightsey Jr. with the Black Boss Channel in Victory Formation. And for my Facebook peeps, follow me, Jeff Lightsey Sports on Facebook. Thank you guys for everything. I'll see you next time. Peace.